time for another game review with your host, GreatTaz. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. GreatTaz here once again with another review. Today, we're going to review Elite Dangerous. This is a space game set in the Milky Way galaxy. This game has every star known to mankind that exists in the Milky Way. First off, you have many things. On this primary launcher, you have some training missions, so if you've never played this game, go ahead and play those. You also have some training missions inside the basic game, and there's different ones of training. There's training videos, and there's challenging scenarios. Now, this game can be played with a HOTAS or a keyboard and mouse. My thing is if you've never played this game before, you do one of two things. A, find people that you know that play the game, and if they play it on a private server. Now, like I said, there's three major ways to play this game. There is open play. This means you will run into other players, other human beings, a lot like you would a major MMO, kind of like World of Warcraft. It's an open world, which means there are no rules or regulation. There's no alliance and horde. There's nothing like that. And there's not safe zones. So basically, you will have people who just like to gank other players because they think it's fun. Suggestion number one, do not play in open. Private groups are groups where actually you can make or your friends have made to play privately. And if you just wish to play by yourself, there's also solo play. This means there are you will not directly encounter any other human commanders. You will be completely on your own. And then there's arena play, human-on-human contact, and not something, unless you're really good with your controls and everything, not something I suggest trying. I have some private groups. I have one of my own, and I have one called Kittle, which is for a couple of my friends who also play this game. So we're going to show you a little bit about the game. So stick around and I'll show you some of the intricate and interesting parts. I'm not going to show you everything because this game is a seriously in-depth game. Now, this has the Horizon expansions, and with the Horizon expansion, it allows you to do Planetfall. If you buy just the basic game, you cannot do Planetfall. To their website directly, which will be in the description. Stick around. You'll see some interesting, fun battles. You will also hear some interesting stuff and see some great things. All right, here we have, I am in the Chabillion service station in the Wolf area. I have played this game for quite a while, and there's a lot to it. All right, when you first start out, you are going to start out in a ship called the Sidewinder. Now, this is your very basic ship, and it has different things. As you go along and earn credits doing different missions and different things, you'll be able to buy other ships like the Eagle and the Python. I will also put in a link to a website, Inara, that has outstanding information. And if you want to do research on your game and see all the ships and all the systems, and now there's a lot of area that's not been opened yet to player base. They're slowly opening up different sectors of the Milky Way galaxy as they build it. So there are some spots that aren't quite yet open. But you can see a lot of things go through and stuff like that, and we're going to go through more of it. And this is just a shipyard in this station, and this is only 6 of the ships. All right. Now, I have one ship here. I have other ships. Total, as you can see here, I have 3 other ships, including this Diamondback, which you see me in right now. Now, when you're in a space station, there are different size stations. There's huge space stations. They're like, it look like a 20-side die. It's really big. Then you have like your I wouldn't say it's really smaller, but you have one with the basically a lot like the Star Trek one. It's a big tube right down the center, and it has a habitat ring that goes around with it on the side, a couple habitat rings and stuff like that, and it has a main port. And then you have some smaller one, which is just kind of like the International Space Station. All right, and there's a lot you can do in here. You can buy stuff from one place and sell it in another place for profit. That's what the commodities is about. Some of the commodities is about. You got mission boards where you can do various missions for different factions. That is what's coming up here. Loading, again, this is going to take a little bit of time. Some of this loading is stuff. There's you can do passengers. You can set up a passenger ship. I'm not going to continue to open these because these all have some time. As you can see, here's some passenger crap. And then you have contacts, which you can do different things, turn in different stuff. You have in here, you can hollow me, which you can change the looks of your avatar. This is my avatar. You can make it look any way you want, from pure white to pure black with no hair, lots of hair, and male, female. You make it, choose what you want. Crew lounges, astrocartographies is where you sell information that you've been through systems and use your discovery scanner to find out. And the crew lounge is also where you hire crew members for ships that you have multi-crew capability. With that all being said, a remote workshop, this is just over this view. You can refuel, repair, restock at most space stations. Some you can't do certain things. The remote workshops is working with engineers. I'm not going to sit here and go through all this right now. As you can see, I got two stuff that I can work on away from the engineers. There's outfitting, is where you build your ship, make it how you want it to. Your shipyard is which we showed you. You can transfer ships, buy new ships, or if you have multiple ships in one station, you can select between the different ships of what you want. And then advanced maintenance is where you can change things on your ship, like all this stuff. You can repair it if it's broken. Usually if you do a basic repair, it all repair except for your paint job. Get on to a little more interesting things here in a minute. I will show you some space fighting. I will show you some of the new mining, and I will show you some of the SRV planet landing. This is not a game you pick up and play for about 20 minutes and you've jumped to the next level. It's not any way shaped like that. It is a very in-depth game. It does have a learning curve. A lot of my friends that play this don't call it a learning curve. There is a learning cliff. I will possibly have some comments and questions towards one of my allies that is in this game, and a little bit later section of this video. Hello, here we are in a combat. We found some combat, and this is basically, we're bounty hunting right now. We're in a small craft called a vulture with what they call multi-cannons, and we're just shooting them, targeting at the enemy that says it's wanted. Don't shoot anything that isn't, because you'll end up with a bounty on your own head. And then we're going to sit here and just continue to shoot this guy until kaboom. We've seen some weapon fire over here, so let's see what we got over here. That is federal security. Do not attack your federal security. You're going to get your butt whooped. It's clean. Ooh, they're shooting him. Let's see what he has. Alright, Asp Explorer. Shields are offline. Says Nova scanning. Okay, he's wanted, so we can fire. We got to keep within range, and we don't want to shoot anybody. There we go, another one. All right. As you can see, fighting, it can be fun and exciting. You just got to go to where you see all the lasers pointing, and that's usually a good indication of someone who can be shot and killed. Your federal security, always good ones to look for, because they will be firing at the bad guys. He's trying to get out of here. We got to get him quick. Oh, he didn't quite make it. Well, there we have some nice, good little combat. And then we'll come on back to other things here shortly. Just give us some time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here you see I am in an SRV. This is a surface riding vehicle. As you can see, there is my ship. There is the docking bay in it. I can now send my ship up if I wish. I am looking out the turret controls right now. Now, on the surface, you go around and search for different mineral deposits. You can find biological stuff. You can also find other stuff to include human technology stuff. And it's just a matter of driving around. But the biggest thing you have to watch out about is some planets have low gravity. And so if you hit a rock, you can go flying, and you can actually end up really demolishing your ship. Here we see have something in front of us. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's Pisces cobble. So we're going to go over and investigate it. 40 kilometers. That should be good right there. Carbon, sweet, need that. And you get a lot of these what they call micro minerals from places like this, and you need that stuff for as we call it, upgrade your ship's components through engineers, and that's a whole nother portion of the game. We have crystalline fragments. Let's see, can I get low enough? There we go. Just a matter manganese. Oh, that was nice. And it was a new mineral that we've discovered. First time we've ever discovered, so we get manganese, a new material and an element discovered. Sweet. That's awesome. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot that can be done in this game, and this is just a little bit more. I'll bring you some more here momentarily. We're going to jump on, and so I can get to other positions and show you some more stuff. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I said I was going to show you some multiple things in Elite Dangerous, and here is another one. What we're doing now is what we call core mining. It's part of the mining experience, right? And you have different ways to mine. You have you mine with what they call abrasion blasters, which shoot objects like this. That is called a surface deposit. You can knock those off. And you got other deposits, subsurface deposits like this one here. All right, which you use a device called displacement missiles that drill into, just in the surface of, to drill into the asteroid and pull out some materials. Now there is also the mining laser, which is the most basic and the original form of mining before version 3.3. You just shoot at, the thing, and then what you get is what you get. You'll get little pieces of fragments, as you heard that, maybe you heard that. And there's a fragment of hydrogen peroxide and lithium. So what you do to get this is you launch prospector limpets into an asteroid. You go searching through an asteroid by first prospecting a area. Okay, you're going to get into you're going to use your scanner to get into an area that has hot spots if you're doing certain things. Now, there's certain things are worth more. Right now, we're going after void opals, and as you see, I'm using my pulse wave scanner to send out waves of pulses to hit asteroids, and these asteroids will light up like this, right here. And then we would fire a limpet, a prospector limpet into said asteroid, and then you would get stuff. Information like the lower left panel down here, as you see, and that's from after you target your limpet prospector and send it in. And then you go on, and what you really want to look for is cores. And when you find a core, usually that is going to be of high value items. And as you see here, we have what they call void opals. Now, there's multiple ways to go about this, and I've learned a few things as we went. You can sit here and go like this and look in your one panel. That's an average strength, low strength, low strength, average strength, low strength, low strength, and low strength. All right. And what I've learned from a few different watching videos and stuff is different techniques of doing this. Now, where is our low strength fisher? Here. This, we're going to use what we call seismic charges. And this puts charges into these fissures, okay? Now we got to line up with the fisher, unless that's a low right there. What is that? That's a low, so we'll take that one. And we'll move into position to get in line with it. All right. And then do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And we're going to put in a large shield. Now we find another low. This is the way they constructed another low. So we found another low. And you put 2 highs and low strength fishers. And then you go with lows in your next heavy. Like you go to average. So we'll go high here. And we don't need any more than that. As you can see in the upper right hand corner, we got the optimal yield. That means you will get the best out of everything. Now we're sitting here. I need to get to my abrasion blaster. Now, since we have that, we're going to back off to over 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer at least. All right, we should be safe here. We're going to go over here. And this is the one we have, and we're going to detonate it. And this is where it gets exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Get our lipid collectors going. Open up our mine core. Now, you want to be back. The reason we're back a little ways is because we do not seriously want to get our butt handed to us by the explosion. The explosion is so large, it can actually damage your ships and destroy, if you have no shields, and completely destroy them. Now we're going to go and get closer with the abrasion blaster, but staying away from getting out of the center because we don't want to lose our collector lipids. We don't want to shoot our collected lipids with our abrasion blaster either, because I've done that by accident too. And we're going to knock these off the asteroid and let our collector limpets go do what they gotta do. Oh, missed that one. I'm gonna miss it again. Gonna miss it again, and it's turned on us. Try one more time. All right, well, not looking like we're going to have any luck that way, so we're going to move over here. Now you gotta keep an eye out that you don't accidentally... Ah, darn it. Nope. Move in a little bit. I'll go shoot this one off real quick. All right. As you can see, void opals are being processed by my refinery, and my collector lipids are going out and collecting the chunks. Now you can do this faster. If you have a bigger ship, you can add more collector lipids on controllers. You can like the version I have is a 3. All right, I am getting no love from that. We'll go down this way, trying to stay on the outside, trying to leave it so our collector limpets can actually get to us. All right, continue to spin around here. What it looks like is I'm going to end up having to go inside. I'm trying to keep space between me and rocks, so my collector limpets have space to actually get into my ship. I don't know how to show you what below my ship, but there is space that you need below your ship so that the collector limpets can get in. And you can see here, we just continue to blast these off. You watch your proximity alerts. It looks like we might have ran into something as our shields have gone down a little bit. There we go. And there we have it. Some void opal mining. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is GreatTaz in my review, and here's my thoughts. Elite Dangerous. It is a very interesting game. It has multitude of stuff that you can do in the game, and it's actually fun. You can play the game as a pirate. You can play the game as a trader, a miner, you name it, you can play the game as it, or explore, and just fly around exploring and finding stuff. But would I recommend the game? Yeah. Like I said earlier, that it does take a little bit of time to figure out. And so it's something you gotta play around with. It's not gonna be something you're gonna pick up and instantly be able to do everything right away. It's something you're gonna have to learn, like any game, and it does have a steep learning curve, or as some people call it, a cliff. Now, what we're going to do here is I have a veteran player. He's named Commander Kittle in game, Hadar on other stations, and we're going to do a slight interview with Hadar. All right, you there, Hadar?
I certainly am.
All right, how are you today?
Can't complain.
Well, that's a good start. As I was just speaking here, this is Elite Dangerous, and this is what we're going to be talking about. And how long have you actually been playing Elite Dangerous? Let's start there.
Pretty close to 4, maybe 5 years.
So you would say you're very knowledgeable in the game?
To a certain extent.
Well, wouldn't say you're the most knowledgeable, but 4 years of experience and 4 years of playing, so you probably got a really good opinion and stuff like that.
I have a fairly good idea, but I, certainly don't know everything, and nor would I lay claim to knowing everything.
No, well, we will hope you wouldn't. So, I come up with a few questions here, and we actually kind of started them there with your base in World of Tanks, my other game I play, and I understand you have played also. But
Used to, I don't play.
But we're not really talking about World of Tanks. We're talking about Elite Dangerous, and so let's see here. Let's go, since we already talked about World of Tanks and we know that you've played a little bit. Let's talk about what games have you played and how long have you basically been playing video games?
Well, I've been playing video games since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Tandy, Commodore 64, all forms and iterations of Atari, just to give you a slight idea of how long I've been at it.
So
played many, many different games out there in my lifetime.
So quite a few. All right. Like you said, you played multiple games. What led you to actually come and play Elite Dangerous?
Well, I've always been an explorer at heart, and I've always wanted to play a flight sim game. And when I had found out that this game runs the Stellar Forge, same thing that NASA runs, that piqued my curiosity, because the game engages me because it is based heavily in science fact to a certain extent.
All right.
That, and visually speaking, the game is very stunning. I find it to be just a graphically beautiful game to look at.
Okay. We already went. Let's see. Now, most people that just play basic games, they use the keyboard and mouse. Would you say that Elite Dangerous is playable by the keyboard and mouse, or do you need special equipment like maybe a HOTAS?
The game could be played with a HOTAS. It could be played with a keyboard and mouse. It could be played with a controller, Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. Personally, I prefer the HOTAS. I think there are things that can be done with the HOTAS that simply cannot be achieved with the aforementioned peripherals.
All right. We know Elite Dangerous is not the easiest game to learn. How would you describe the learning curve, so to speak?
It's not a curve, it's a cliff.
That's which I mentioned earlier in this video. I mentioned it. With most people who play it don't know it as a curve; they do know it as a cliff. So, um, we also know I went over a few of these earlier in my video. There are multiple ways to make money in Elite Dangerous, like mining. You can pirate, be a bounty hunter, uh, people transports. God, I know I'm missing probably one.
Missions. Oh yeah, there's also the missions that you can pick up from the mission givers there when you are in the contacts. Boom data deliveries is one that could make a fairly good haul in a short amount of time. Not to mention it also builds up your rep with whatever faction that you are currently working on increasing your reputation with.
All right. All right. Yeah. And as Kittle said, Kittle said, or Commander Hadar there said, there are multiple ones, and that's fine. Out of all those things, what is would you say by far is your probably most favorite thing to do?
That's a really good question. I really enjoy exploration. Just jumping into my Diamondback Explorer and just heading out into the black, scanning and discovering planets that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to even see, let alone drive around on. I've also taken a very strong liking in combat, and mining, since they have redone the mining, is also very, very interesting to do as well, not to mention extremely lucrative. You can make a lot of money in a very short amount of time. Basically, what limits you in Elite Dangerous is your own imagination and ambition. The game is open-ended, and there is just an inexhaustible amount of things that you could do in the game.
Right. Now, there are alliances, or people who don't know, kind of what that is kind of more like a clan, like something from Clan Wars or Clan Wars, World of Tanks or Clan Wars, or like World of Warcraft. It's very similar in aspects, and I also understand that you have your own. I should understand this considering I'm part of it, but what made you decide to create your alliance?
Well, what made me want to create the squadron comes in two parts. First and foremost, playing the game with like-minded individuals, hanging out with my friends and everything online. But ever since the beginning of my playing the game, I kind of came up with this Kittle Corp thing. My own little, I guess, role play aspect of the game. And then when I heard that they made squadrons a thing, I decided to, sate that little RPG side of me and create a Kittle Corp. And so far, it's been a lot of fun. I get to play the game with you and Norman and Stone Cold, just to name a few of my good buddies that we play the game with. We actively try to help one another out in whatever endeavors we may be currently engaged in, especially when it comes to, someone is shipping goods to and from a different system, and the NPCs like to try to interdict you. So it's always good to have someone there, flying shotgun, as it were, with a combat vessel. So when the interdiction happens, you can make that person that interdicted your buddy rethink his decisions.
Right. All right. How you went into your squadron? I called it an alliance. One of those.
Alliance, squadron, clan, it's all the same thing, really.
Basically. Squadron makes it sound better because it is more of a flight game, so even if it is in space, then an alliance to me. Now, what does Kittle Corp, the squadron, stand for, and what's you have? I don't know if we've ever sat down and decide. I know you, Norm, and Duck are pretty much the officers, per se, of the squadron. Have anyone sat down and come across a basic set of guidelines for the squadron?
Well, we don't want to muddle things up with a, long list of rules and regulations, but it's basically common sense. Treat everybody with respect, and the turnout of that is you get treated with respect right back. Try to be helpful if someone is having a problem with the game and you have the answer. Throw them the answer. If they need an assist with something that they're doing, i.e., let's say shipping something and they're getting interdicted left and right, then if you have the time and the inclination, you can jump in your combat vessel and help, clear as 6.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sounds like an overall friendly set of ideals.
Yeah, we're casual. Like I said, we don't have a long list of ridiculous rules or anything like that. Just basically, don't be disruptive or immature, I guess, is basically the safest, most family-friendly way of summing that up.
Yeah, sounds like a good way. As for new players who come to Elite Dangerous, what would you suggestions most likely be for the new player?
Join Kittle Corp.
Okay, well,
in all honesty, as a new player, I would not recommend playing in open play. Only because the game, like many others, does have this thing called griefers that really get off on destroying players that are brand new to the game. It's a great way to, I guess, ease their insecurities. So I would probably recommend doing solo play. At least this way you won't have to worry about a griefer that's gonna try to, screw around with you and blow your ship up left and right. And, I know I said join Kittle Corp more as a joke, but if you wanted to, we have our own private server, which is pretty much almost like the solo server there, but at least you get to communicate and play the game with us, and the end result is it's griefer free. Not to mention, you also will have the benefit of playing with some experienced players that have, done a few things here and there in the game and have figured out, ways to work around or get through some of the more arduous aspects of the game, and we'd be more than happy to help everybody out to the best of our abilities.
Oh, that's good to hear. Is there anything else you would like to add before we end this little interview? Other than join Kittle Corp?
That about sums it up.
All right, well, we're going to end this up here, and as I'm trying not to get killed in combat,
Oh, you're doing an interview while flying your ship. You are very brave, sir.
I've already been blown up once. I went to a conflict zone with low, and I couldn't quite just do both, so...
Well, if you need a hand, let me know.
I'm doing good. Right this second. Don't want to fire on him. He's a good guy. He's green. Green guys are good. Do not fire on green guys. You go to jail for firing on green guys.
Red, you're dead.
Hey, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. But yeah, like I said, we're going to end this up here with me trying not to die. And I want to thank you again, Hadar, for putting the time aside to answer these questions.
That was my pleasure.
Very informative, and as I said before, ladies and gentlemen, just before the interview started, Elite Dangerous is a game, has large depth, As Hadar also indicated, there's so much you can do in it, and it's basically all based off of what you really want to get out of it. Is, as the old saying goes, you get out of it what you put into it. So it can be a major fun game, or you could sit and have a long, boring time. But with that, this is GreatTaz signing off. If you like this replay, please give it a thumbs up. A review. If you did not and thinks it deserves it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And with that all being said, I am going to jump right on out of this conflict so that I can do other things that make it a little bit easier to actually talk. Once my stream drive allows me to.
And if anyone gives this a thumbs down, please let him know why in the comments below.
That would be great.